My name is Alexandra Given, and this is my generational narrative. I interviewed Donna Gibson and Heather Fancher. Donna Gibson is a neighbor. She's a family friend, and we've known her for several years. And she is 64 years old. And then Heather Fancher is my mother. She is 45 years old, and they both currently reside in Newport, Tennessee. I will start off by telling you a little bit about their background. My mother, her family is of Irish descent, and they settled in West Virginia when it was still Virginia. My mother was born in Webster Springs, West Virginia, and she lived there until she was 3, and then she moved to Brunswick, Ohio, and she lived there with her parents and her siblings until she was a junior in high school, and then she moved back to West Virginia. There she met my father, and a year after their graduation they moved to Tennessee. For the last 25 years she's mostly done customer service. She's worked in the food industry, and she's managed several retail stores. She's currently a stay-at-home mom to my younger sister because she's autistic. And Donna, her grandparents are from Greenbrier, which is located in the Smoky Mountains. Her family came from England, and she was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. Her and her family lived in Hardin Valley, which is in Concord. Her father ran a dairy farm there, and was also a pastor there. She went to school from first grade until high school. She said there wasn't any such thing as kindergarten back in her day. She said her day consisted of school and then straight home to work on the farm. And then unless it was on Sunday, then they had to go to church. As an adult, she moved to Sevier County with her husband and her children, and she owned her own cleaning service for 20 years up until her husband got sick and passed away. Question 2 was, as a child, do you recall any adult ever discussing prejudice with you? If so, what were you told? My mother couldn't recall of ever remembering anyone discussing prejudice with her. And Donna says no, that her grandparents lived down the road from a black family, and the woman there was a midwife who delivered all of her aunts and uncles as well as her mother, and her mother was also named after the woman that delivered her. And she says her father just taught her to be kind and just to treat everyone the same. Question number 3, sometimes people will tell children one thing but model another. Did you pick up on any unwritten rules from the adults in your life about how to interact with those who were different from you? My mother said that her grandmother was a big influence in her life, and that she was a very positive woman who was very religious, and she was a very godly woman. And she said that she learned from her grandmother that to always be welcoming and just to be kind to everyone regardless of their nationality, color, background, just to be nice to everyone. And then Donna says no, that she was taught to treat everyone the same regardless of the color of their skin, what religion they believed in, and what their ethnic background was. And if she didn't treat others equally, she said that her dad would take a belt to her. So I guess being a pastor's daughter, that's pretty accurate. Number 4 was, can you recall one of the first times that you encountered someone who was different than you? What was your reaction? My mom said she was in 6th grade when she met Jenny. They became close friends in school, and she got invited to her house quite often, but was never able to go because her parents didn't know Jenny's parents, and they didn't really get a chance, or they didn't make any effort to get to know their parents, and so also they lived across town, so it was really hard for them to get together outside of school. But she said that they became very close friends while they were in school, and she never thought anything about it though. She just saw her as a friend, not someone that was a different color or anything like that. Donna said that the family that lived up the road from her grandparents, who was the midwife and her husband, um, she said that those were the people that she grew up with all of her life, and that they would help. The husband would help her grandfather out on the farm with the animals and with the crops, and she said that it was no different than being around her grandparents. So question 5 was, thinking back over your life, can you identify any events that happened on a national or regional level that influenced your thinking about prejudice or about other groups of people in general? My mother said that she couldn't think of a national or regional movement, but she said that she could think of was, the only thing that she could think of was after she moved to Tennessee, there was a lot of rallies, like with the Ku Klux Klan and things like that, and she said it was just something that she had never experienced anything like that before. She said she didn't really care to experience that again. And then like after they would have the rallies, there would be like this festival of color at the local high school. And then Donna said that she remembered when Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. That was something that was talked about quite often. She said that her family didn't agree with it, and that so she was growing up in the 60s, so during that time, like, she was familiar with segregation and like things like that. And she says that the first time that she saw a black child in her school was when she moved to Sevier County, and she was in the 6th grade, and she became friends with him and his family, and their families also became really close. Apparently they Donna and her family lived on the farm, and then him and his family lived like 500 acres like over the farm, I guess. And she said that her grandparents like welcomed them to come get crops out of their garden and things like that. So she said that they became really close friends, like her and her family became really close friends with him and his family. Question number 6 was, what about personal events that may have influenced your thinking? My mother said that being from West Virginia, it was a southern culture, and there wasn't a lot of prejudice there because there wasn't a lot of people that were different from her. And she didn't really witness it until she moved to Tennessee, and she met she had worked with these two ladies from Israel, and they were both Jewish, and she said it opened her eyes a lot about different cultures, because they spoke differently and they wore different clothing and they ate different things from her. So it was a whole different culture, and she said that they were some of the greatest people that she had ever met, and it really changed her point of view on thinking about like diversity, and like she witnessed like how they were treated, because at the time it was a retail store, and she saw how they were treated by the customers that would come in, and she said that it just really opened her eyes on how they were treated, and how she thought about diversity and prejudice and things like that. She also says there was a lot of racism going on in West Virginia, and she says that it was a different environment. So like where this area is a tourist attraction, like we're close to Sevier County and we're close to Gatlinburg, and she said that she gets to witness all different families that come and that are on vacation, and there's different nationalities and different cultures. So that was really interesting that she said that. Donna says that growing up with her grandparents' neighbors, that it was a major influence on her life because they were like her family. It was no big deal. She didn't see color. She just saw friends, neighbors. Her dad being a pastor was also another big influence on her thinking, and she was taught that God doesn't see color, that everyone bleeds the same color. So growing up in church, I guess, was a big influence on her thinking as well. Question number 7 is, What have you told your kids, or what do you plan to tell your children about prejudice? My mom says that she has tried to teach her children to not be prejudiced, and I think she's done a good job, because I don't think anything about it. When I see someone of color, I don't like, I don't pay attention to it. I just see them as just another person. Like, oh, I like your outfit, or like, I don't see like, oh, well, I don't like your skin color. I would never be like that. So I think she's done a good job at teaching her like the importance of teaching her children not to be prejudiced, and it has helped that growing up in church as well, because again, like, God doesn't see color. We all believe the same, and he's made all of us equal. So Donna says that she raised her kids not to be prejudiced, just like she was raised, and she taught her kids that people of a different race were no different than me or you. So, and then again, she also said that growing up in church, that she was taught that God has made us all the same and equal. Question number 8 was, do you think the problem of prejudice in the United States has improved, grown worse, or stayed about the same during your lifetime? How have things changed? How have they stayed the same? My mom thinks that it has changed. She thinks it's gotten better, but she knows that there is still racism and prejudice all throughout parts of the world. She says that she was sheltered a lot in her life when she lived in West Virginia, because there were hardly any people there that were different from her. So she didn't get to experience it or witness it through her life a whole lot, and she said that she believes it happens, prejudice and things like that happen in bigger cities where there's a lot more diversity going on, there's a lot more culture. So she did witness it when she was working in Gatlinburg and Cedarville and places like that. She saw it more so than our small community. Donna says that she doesn't believe they have changed, and she meets so many people who are racist and prejudiced against African Americans, and she says that she doesn't agree with them, that they are man, woman, and child just like us. She says just because their skin is different doesn't mean their hearts are different. She said that she has protested outside of KKK rallies, and she thinks that people are good black people and bad black people, just as well as there are good white people and bad black people. She says that people shouldn't judge others based on their color. They should get to know their true character. So yeah. Question number 9 was, who do you believe had the most influence on your views about diversity? Family, peers, teachers, the media, religion, or your community? My mother said that her grandmother had the biggest influence on her views, as well as her religion. My great-grandmother was the one that always took my mom to church, and I can remember young when I was younger, she would always take me to church with her as well. And then she believed that it was wrong to discriminate people against their skin color, and that she was always welcoming, and she didn't see color at all. And Donna says that her parents had the most influence on her as well, as her father was a pastor, and that she was raised up in church. Question number 10 is, what, if anything, do you believe is your responsibility in combating prejudice? My mother said that it is her responsibility in combating prejudice is to just to be kind to people, and kind to people that are different from us, and just to treat others how you want to be treated. And she's always taught me to treat others how I want to be treated, even if it's not based on their skin color. Like, just be kind to everyone, and if you don't want to be treated bad, don't treat others bad. And Donna said just to stand up for what you believe in, and to voice your opinion, and don't stand in the background, because every voice matters. Question number 11 is, how do you believe that prejudice and discrimination should be handled in the future in the U.S.? My mom believes that if you're prejudiced, or if you have hatred towards people, that you just need to keep it to yourself, and not to expose kids to that kind of negativity, because you don't want them growing up to be prejudiced. And because they're our future, and the problem will never change if you teach your kids that it's okay to hate people that are different from you. And Donna thinks that there shouldn't be any prejudice, period. That she says this world is the melting pot, and that we have ancestors all from all around the world, and why should there be any prejudice when we ourselves come from all different backgrounds and origins? So I thought that was really interesting that she said that, which it's true. There shouldn't be any prejudice, especially when we all come from different parts of the world. Even though we're not like of darker skin or anything like that, we still have ancestors that are from different cultures and different nationalities. So I thought that was really interesting. But this is the end of my generational narrative, and thank you so much for watching.